Right. Thank you, Lee Ashby, for sending me the questions. Sorry for the delay in getting back, but I've been very busy. So let's go through the questions. What was your favourite track as a schoolboy and then pro career venue and why? As a schoolboy, once we got to national level, I probably enjoyed most Ellsworth. Loved that track, loads of jumps. Quite technical, hard packed, and had some good races there. So that's why I really enjoyed racing there. Also Canada Heights, obviously local track to where we lived, and a legendary track as well. You know, all the great riders had raced there over the years. Really tough track, really bumpy. Yeah, different conditions. It was like a different track. In the summer, it was hard packed, so that come with its own challenges. We used to do the early birds with first round of the British Championship there, and it was always a bit softer, so it roughed up like you can't believe. So yeah, always a good track because you had to sort of half know what you was doing to be able to get a good result around there. So yeah, I enjoyed Canada Heights and Ellsworth. That kind of went into the pros as well, obviously, because we used to have the British Championships there, and again, always look forward to racing them meetings each year. And as a favourite Grand Prix track, that would be Glen Helen in America, but we'll go on to that a bit later. Number 2, what riders did you look up to and idolise when you was young and why? I suppose my first hero kind of, rider that I looked up to was David Thorpe, obviously absolute legend. And as a young rider, he was at the absolute top of his game in the pros, in the 500 Grand Prix and stuff. So, British, Dave Thorpe, top rider, was absolutely my first sort of hero. It's funny actually because I was watching James Marsh's interview, and he said he wrote to Jimmy Savile to see if he could ride with Dave Thorpe. Well, I also wrote to Jimmy Savile to see if I could ride with Graham Noyce, Marsh's one. But yeah, I also wrote to Jimmy Savile to see if I could ride with Dave Thorpe. But he never got back to me, so I can only thank my lucky stars for that one. Because yeah, between me and Marshy, if he'd have replied, he'd have had a field day. Obviously, then once we started getting exposed, or you go to the dirt bike show every year, and you could get some of the American Supercross videos. And obviously, once I started seeing them, and you had Ricky Johnson, Ron Lachine, Brock Glover, David Bailey's. They was all, absolute legends. And again, I think back in that day, because obviously there wasn't the internet and all the stuff that we could see what they was doing in America as easy as we can today, they just seemed godlike, when you watch the Supercross videos and stuff like that. It just was amazing to see them, and their techniques and just how good they was at riding motorcycles. Number 3, who was your closest rivals in the racing days? Who did you enjoy racing with the most and why? Well, this one, I mean, I was lucky enough to be in an era of some absolute brilliant riders. I mean, we had the pleasure of Dobby and Malin. So again, I wouldn't say they was my closest competitors because they beat me. It was very rare that if I got a race over them, beat them in a race or whatever, it was probably because one of their wheels fell off or something like that. They were so good. And luckily, they grew up and Dobby obviously become world champion. Malin absolutely could have become a world champion if everything had lined up and fell into place for him. He certainly had the talent. He certainly was on the right team and stuff like that. So there was no doubt, that Malin had all the stars lined up. He would have been a world champion as well. So at least we can say that, we got beat by 2 guys that, Dobby made world champion, Malin could have made world champion. It's better than sort of growing up and, we used to beat you in the schoolboys. A couple of blokes called Dobby and Malin. I think Dobby owns a fish shop and Malin's a road sweeper. At least they become very, very, very good at what they done. So there's no shame in being beat by them two in the schoolboys. But let's say, the next rundown from them guys, you know, there was James Marsh, Craig Prattley, Julian Rawson. I mean, in the younger days, there was a lad called Darren Noddins that was incredible. Was so fast, it was unbelievable. But he got some bad injuries and what have you. But yeah, like Tony Bennett, Matthew Benson, Glenn Simpson. There was lots of us. It was a real good era of fast riders. So excellent times. What was your favourite race bike team you rode during your career and why? Well, my favourite bike, that would have been 92 CR500. I was sponsored by Action Workshop. It was a bit of a surprise signing because I'd just done 2 years of 125 Grand Prix and for Yamaha, and then I was out of a deal. Had a couple of injuries during that period that kind of put me on the sidelines for quite long times. So I lost the deal at Yamaha, and then Julian Clark, kind of, I knew him anyway, we're local Kent guys and stuff like that. He come and had a chat with me and mum and dad and stuff, and kind of offered me this lifeline to go on a 500, doing the 500 Grand Prix, which was a bit of a shock because, like I say, I was only little. You know, it was before my growth spurt, and I'd done 125 Grand Prix, so to jump from that to the 500 seemed like a massive kind of challenge. But Julian was a good guy, and I went for it. And yeah, he trained me so hard through the winter. I'd never been fitter. We was doing 45-minute motos round Ship and Shovel, 2 a day. I was training with Jeremy Watley, Billy Lyles. Julian was a great personal trainer, physical trainer. I say Mark Eastwood was training with us at the time as well. And it just had a great winter. And there was no chance that I was going to go to America because the budget wasn't there. They obviously was going to take Jeremy and Billy. And then, again, I think, you know, our pre-season training, testing and stuff like that, I was really going well and was fit and my lap times were, you know, pretty good. And Julian said, yeah, we've found the budget. We're going to take you to America, the first round of the 500 Grand Prix. And it was just the best experience ever. We got out there. Mitch Payton, the pro circuit, built me a bike. And again, it was just a rocket ship. We done suspension testing with Bones from pro circuit, so the suspension was beautiful. The engine was beautiful, and you know, the whole weekend was just mega. I think probably because I'd worked so hard through the winter, there wasn't many expectations, but we got there, and like I say, just everything clicked. I clicked, the bike was amazing, and we had a great weekend. But then saying that, like I say, I've done a lot of time in Germany, raced for Saarholz Honda. They looked after me extremely well through the winter, through the German Supercrosses for like 10 years or something. You know, I rode for them through the winter. I rode, once I stopped with Saarholz, I rode for the German Yamaha team, Welterman, but then I got picked up by the Wunschel brothers, and it was kind of, Red Bull was getting into motocross, you know, action sports and whatever. And it was the Wunschel brothers, great guys, had done a deal. They was close with the people at Red Bull, and they done a deal and they created a Red Bull Supercross team, which myself and Craig Anderson rode for. And again, just a brilliant team. So much fun, such a good atmosphere within the team. The kit was good, you know, the bikes were good. And just a really enjoyable experience to race for them guys, and they're still friends to this day, you know, the Wunschel brothers. What was your favourite race number? Was there any reason for having it, wanting it? How did that come about, even as a youngster? Well, in the schoolboys, I was number 77. And a simple thing with that was I wanted to be number 7 because Barry Sheen was kind of my first motorcycle idol. But when we went to the club and asked for number 7, somebody already had it. So we just 77. Simple as that. What track venue did you not like racing and why? Never got on well at Fox Hills. Lovely track to watch, spectate from. You know, you could see everything, the valley, the hills, the jumps, everything like that. Brilliant. But I just couldn't get on with it. The dirt with the flints in it and whatnot. I just, yeah, I don't think I ever had a good race there. So, so that would be that one. And the Schoolboys, there was a track, I've done it a couple of times, it was the name should have put you off, it was called Maggot's Farm, and I hated that place as well, couldn't ride for toffee around there. What was your favourite racing gear that you've worn during your career and why? Favourite gear, I've always had nice gear, to be fair. SoCal looked after me very well, Guy Nichols, Sean Avery. They looked after me great. Always I felt I looked pretty cool in it. The kit was nice. It wasn't one of the big boys like your Foxes or Thors or, Answers, something like that. But they done a really good job. It looked nice, and they looked after me extremely well. First one, probably one that was really important to me was PSA. Because coming out of Schoolboys into the adults, they was the first clothing company that kind of paid me to wear their clothing. So that's it's got fond memories of working with them people. Again, still friends with them today. But yeah, PSA looked after me well. Probably the trickiest looking kit I had, I suppose, maybe you could say, was the Troy Lee stuff, but I'd kind of finished my career by then, and the Motor Vision boys was the importers of Troy Lee, and they sorted me out a couple of sets of kit, and they was always great guys to work with, and yeah, they sorted out a couple of sets of kit, and it looked trick. Troy Lee, isn't it? It's going to look trick. So yeah. Where are we? Did you have any superstitions or anything you had to do on race days, or things you have to do, or certain ways you had to do things? No, not really. I used to have a pair of lucky socks in the Schoolboys, but it got to the point where I was putting them on and literally like my feet was coming out the bottoms of them, so I had to get new ones. So I got over the fact that my lucky ones was no good anymore. I put new ones on. It didn't make any difference to my results and stuff. So I kind of got rid of having lucky items of clothing or stuff like that, because obviously it didn't last. So that would have been silly to put all my faith into a pair of socks. So no. Where did you race as a schoolboy racer, and the details of back then? Kent and East Kent. Kent was ACU, East Kent was BSMA. I was a Kent boy. They was local races to me, local tracks and everything. So yeah, Kent and East Kent, that's where it all started. They was great clubs. They had some really nice tracks. They was well organised, nice people in charge of them. So yeah, Kent and East Kent is where I sort of, my early days of racing started. Do you still ride now? Where and what bikes do you currently have and ride? No, I don't ride motocross at all, and I haven't done since about 2003, so that's quite a while. I'd done a lap round Farley last year as the Legends lap, whatever you want to call it. Loved it, really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it, but yeah, this body's not built for throwing itself around anymore and all of that. But I did enjoy that one lap and being at a meeting and watching the racing and stuff like that. Thoroughly enjoyed it. As far as a bike, I've got a Harley Davidson, midlife crisis, whatever you want to call it, but I love it. So yeah, nice sunny days, I get out on my Harley and sort of have a little blast around and that's it. That sort of itches the problem. But yeah, no motocross bikes. When did you finish competitive racing and why? It was in 2001. properly, when I would still regard myself as a professional. And it was simply, I was living down in Spain doing the Spanish Supercross Championship. They had a good championship down there that run through the summer months. So that kept me kind of sharp going into my winter events, Germany, France, wherever else I was racing, Italy and stuff. So I went and lived down in Spain for the last couple of years. And I probably felt that I had maybe 2 years left in me, and then I would have called it a day. But I had quite a bad crash down there over the bars, knocked out, internal bleeding, separated shoulder, couple of scratches. And I was out for about 6 months, and it would have taken so much kind of effort and time to get back fit and training again and get race pace back again and stuff like that. And I'd have been doing it all for kind of, potentially 1 year. I mean, I'd lost me edge by then anyways. So I kind of just sat down in Spain for 5 or 6 months, recuperating, getting my body back together. And it just, it just kind of made sense that was the time to call it a day, really. 2001. What other sports do you enjoy doing after your MX days or during too? I used to do fishing, funny enough. Used to do a bit of carp fishing and freshwater fishing. I used to enjoy that, the relaxation of it. Or if you go with mates, the fun of it, the laugh. If we was night fishing, it was a good way to get away from racing and clear your head and do something completely different at a completely different pace and just, sit there and hope that your bite alarms went off or whatever style of fishing you was doing. But there wasn't a lot of stress or pressure around it, so I enjoyed that. Don't do any sports now. I watch sports on telly a little bit. Formula One, the Motocross Grand Prix, obviously. Supercross in America I like to watch. A bit of darts. I've got a dartboard. I quite enjoy doing darts, but sporting days are over. What was your most memorable race or meeting you've enjoyed the most? Why does it stick in your memory even to this day? Again, going back to early question, it would be Glen Helen, 92 US Grand Prix, 500cc Grand Prix. And just because all of the work and everything that we'd done through the winter, the fact that I wasn't expecting to go to that race because of the team budget, that they didn't have the budget to take me there. But yeah, just because of the amount of work that we put in through the winter, the last minute call that I was allowed to go, they'd found the money, and just getting there and just everything about it, Mitch painting a pro circuit, going around to the Oakley factory, all of that side of it. But then actually getting to the race meeting, going out in qualifying, not knowing where my pace was really, felt comfortable that my winter pace and testing and everything was good, but not really knowing where it was going to be on the kind of world stage. Going into qualifying and like I think I come out fourth, like time qualifying, the one lap qualifying, not like the races today. I think I was fourth or fifth, and when you just do a lap and it kind of seemed easy, and then you look at the time score or your mechanic and all of that, it's like fourth or fifth, and it's like, blimey, that was good. I didn't really feel that I put a lot of effort in, and I'm fourth, behind Jean-Michel Bau, Billy Lyles, Jeff Matasevich. Jeff Matasevich was racing that weekend. Kurt Nichols. So just to see my name, up the sharp end and stuff, thinking, okay, that was all right, wasn't it? And then to get to the Sunday and the races. The first race, I think I got a fourth or fifth in the race. The second race, Mitch Payton had said that he needs me to get a whole shot. He's put all this effort into building the bike and stuff like that, and he wants me to get a whole shot. And I got the whole shot. Jean-Michel Bau come past me on about turn 3, 2, something like that. And in my head, I was just like, right, just follow him. Stick with him. Whatever he does, do. Wherever he goes, go. I just followed him. I just tried to hang on to him for as long as I possibly could. He showed me lines that was just ridiculous. Like I could have never have imagined them. and I think I sort of held on to his tail for. Well, I kept him in sight for probably 4 laps, maybe, if I'm lucky, 4 or 5 laps, perhaps. And then he'd kind of dropped me enough that I couldn't see him anymore. But I kind of looked behind, and just in that 4 laps of trying to hang on to the back of him, I think I dropped the rest of the field by, whatever, 10 seconds, 10, 8, 10 seconds, whatever. There was a big gap anyway. I looked behind, and it was like, oh, that kind of worked out well. And I just rode as hard as I could for as long as I could. I think in the end I crashed, but I still kind of got a good result and a good overall result for the weekend, and everybody was pleased and pumped, and I was sort of over the moon with it, and so just a brilliant weekend, absolutely best weekend ever. Who was your best mates during your racing career, and do you still keep in contact? Yeah, I mean, my best mate was Danny Smith, a guy called Danny Smith. We've got up to all sorts of mischief together over the years, and he's still, I would regard him as, one of my best mates today. He lives in Ibiza, and he's just a lot of our kind of stories and, mishaps or whatever, that Danny always seems to be there or thereabouts with me on them. James Marsh, great guy, really, really, really close in the schoolboys, and he lives in Australia now, but Facebook and stuff like that. But yeah, James Marsh, Mark Eastwood, excellent, very, very, very good friends, still in, good friends today. He helped me out a lot over the years, him and his dad Vic, so knowledgeable with the bikes, suspension, stuff like that. There was a few years where I wasn't riding with teams, and I'd just go and buy a bike out of Eastwood's, and they didn't have to. We was, sort of competitors. Mark was, stronger than me over the course of a season, but I was a bit of an annoying kind of person to him, I suppose, because on my day on a race, I could probably, run with him, annoy him, be in front of him, beat him in a race here and there. But over the course of a season, he was stronger than me, without a doubt. But yeah, Mark and his dad, they looked after me. But yeah, Mark, as a friend as well, excellent friend. Again, we got up to a lot of mischief together, and yeah, we're still friends to this day. John Barfoot, had some great times with John. Saudi Arabia, we done together. The 125 Grand Prix, the first couple of years, we was kind of travelling around together. So yeah, John, great guy, and yeah, still a friend to this day. What do you miss most about your racing days? All of it. In a nutshell, all of it. It was just the best. From schoolboy stuff, going away every weekend with your mum and dad, but pulling up to the meetings and all of your friends, because our mums and dads was all friends as well, so everybody would save somebody a parking space, and there was a crew of, I don't know, there was probably about 10 of us or whatever, and all our mums and dads were great friends as well. So yeah, whoever got there first would save spaces for all the others, and it was barbecues and beers, and mums and dads, obviously not us as the schoolboys. We was more interested on our BMX and schoolboy shenanigans or what have you. But yeah, it was just the best times. Then going into the adults, the road trips, the travelling to the Grand Prix, the downtime in between Grand Prix, if it was France, Spain, Portugal, we'd be away for 3 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever, do the Grand Prix, find a campsite on a beach somewhere, Nathan Shelton's, Fraser Swanson, Kelly Swanson, again, John Barfoot's, Neil Shepherd's, we just all kind of travel round together and just have the best times, really, really was lucky. I also miss the adrenaline side of things. The focus when the 15 or 30 second ball turns to 5 and just looking down at that pin on the start gate or whatever, that pure kind of clarity of just concentrating on that pin to see a movement in it, and going, you know, and then that race to the first corner. Like I say, the rush and the adrenaline of that, there's nothing that can replace that at all. Jumping a triple for the first time, you know, you get to a Supercross track and you walk the track and you're looking at the sections, and knowing that, yeah, you're going out in practice and you've got to get that triple jumped as early as you can, because otherwise it becomes a mental block in your head. And you know, or whoops the same, just getting, you know, that you've got to pin it across the top of the whoops, and knowing that it's full commitment. You know, once you've gone for it, you can't back out halfway, whether it be whoops or a triple jump. You know, and you just hope that your technique allows you to get through safely, and you've judged it right, and you've not over jumped a triple by 30 foot or under jumped it by 6 foot or whatever, you know. So I miss all them things, really, and like I say, and just the banter between all the riders, mechanics, and the good times. Do you have any regrets from your racing days? Was there a meeting that you feel you should have done better? No regrets. I don't have regrets, because you can't do anything about them, so they just eat you up if you do have them. I should have won more races in Germany. I should have won German championships. I didn't. I was fast enough to, but I didn't. Whatever. I don't know. I had a good time and got paid to do the job that I loved. So yeah, no regrets. Tell us a funny story from your racing days and memories. It's a difficult one because there's just so many. I mean, there's some standout ones that I can't go into full details because they're long stories and stuff like that. But again, went to a Supercross or got invited to go to a Supercross in Turkey. It was a one-off race, not part of a championship. So I got my mate Danny, sold him the dream, said, you know, been invited, we're doing a Supercross in Turkey. It's going to be brilliant. It's in the summer. It's on the beach, 5-star hotel. It's going to be like going on holiday, but I've just got to do this little race in the middle of it. So do you want to come? So Danny was always up for coming to a race with me if it kind of worked out for him and me. So yeah, sold him the dream, said it was going to be amazing, brilliant hotel on the beach, everything like that. So we got the flight to Istanbul, but then I didn't tell him there was another flight, an internal flight from Istanbul to a place called Ankara, which is landlocked. It's 150 miles from the nearest coast. There's nothing going on there. Well, it's the capital of Turkey, but from a holiday perspective, it's not a holiday destination at all. So we got there. We got a taxi from the airport to the hotel, and the hotel was like Beirut. It was the worst hotel you've ever seen in your life. It was awful. It was like something from Midnight Express. It was dire. So we thought, right, okay, well, let's get out a little bit and go and have a look, go and get some food and a drink or something like that. So luckily, next door to the hotel was a nightclub. So we thought, oh, well, we'll go there and we'll get some food and, what have you, and have a couple of drinks before we go to bed and stuff like that. So when we walked in, the guys, the doorman and all of that, we was a couple of English lads that asked what the situation was. We told them we was there for the Supercross, which seemed to excite them a lot. So they, you're our guests and come in and, whatever you want, just look, we look after you and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's all right, isn't it? It's good. So we got in there and ordered some food and drinks, and people was coming up and asking and talking about Supercross and all of that. So we just thought, oh, this is amazing, we're like rock stars. Everybody's really, really friendly and stuff, and bottles of champagne started coming, and we ordered them, but they didn't just turn up. But we just thought, that's lovely, isn't it? So anyway, got to about whatever in the morning, late-ish. So we thought, oh, we better go. We've got a busy day tomorrow. And as I say, Danny was there as my mechanic. They'd pay for 2 flights for a rider and mechanic and stuff. So he was there as my mechanic. So we thought, well, we better go, and get some sleep. So as we went to leave, obviously the doorman and management come over to us and gave us a bill. And the bill was about 1,500 quid, and it was a lot of money, and it was a lot of money. And on the bill, like, there was the drinks, and then there was drinks we'd bought other people, and then there was charges for people talking to us, and then there was charges for going to the toilet, and there was charges for everything. And we was like, oh, well, we're not paying 1,500 quid to get out of here. But obviously the option was pay 1,500 quid or well, we don't really know, but it didn't look, they wasn't being friendly, you know, we didn't really see that there was another option. So anyway, a bit of haggling, bit of going back and forth, bit of, you know, they them wanting to sort of do bad things to us and stuff. And eventually we come to a deal. I think we had to pay half of what they wanted. I had to give them pretty much all of my race kit from the weekend. Once I'd finished with it, we had to get them tickets to come to the race. And yeah, and it was a bit of a close call, because the old Turkish gangsters, they wasn't that impressed that, you know, that we didn't want to pay the full bill. They didn't seem overly impressed that I said that I needed all my arms and legs to do the race the weekend. They didn't really. They just wanted their money. So that was quite amusing. Like afterwards, obviously, once we'd got out, that was quite funny. There was a brilliant one from Western, but I won't tell you that one now. But yeah, just lots of stories, lots of fun, lots and lots and lots of fun. Where are we? Tell us what you're known for, your style racing, 3 words. I suppose I was quite naturally talented. I had a good kind of style. I was quite a technical rider, it was quite a good technique. And I was quite an aggressive rider. If because of the Supercross, you had to be aggressive, because otherwise you'd have just sat behind people for the whole race. So you kind of had to be a bit aggressive. So, you know, on the German scene, the Supercross scene, I probably was known for being aggressive, naturally talented, and good technique. Right. What were your strengths and possible weaknesses you feel you had during your racing days? Strengths, I just mentioned I had a good technique. Weakness, I was inconsistent. I don't know why. On my day, I could run at the front. I could do, you know, good things. But then another day, I don't know. It just didn't click. So you know, inconsistent was a weakness of mine, and that's probably stopped me winning more championships in Germany or wherever, because yeah, I'd have really, really, really good races, and then I'd kind of, you know, have some diabolical ones. If you could re-race a meeting race tomorrow, your full prime, where would it be, and why? Again, 92 US 500 Grand Prix. Just the whole weekend, the whole experience of the week leading up to it, just brilliant. What do you feel your best achievement in motocross was, and why? I mean, you can come up with individual races and stuff like that and what have you, but I think my biggest achievement was the fact that I had a career for 14 years where I got paid to race motorcycles. When I was younger, my dream was to be a professional motocross racer. So my biggest achievement was at the age of 32 or 31, whenever it was, when I retired. You know, I had been a genuine professional motocross rider where I got paid to do the job that I loved. So that's my biggest achievement. Who were the riders you used to always have run-ins with and hate to race with, and why? Nobody in particular. I had individual run-ins with people, you know. I took them out, they took me out. You have the they have the but there was nobody that I'd line up with and go, oh my God, you know, they're in the race or whatever, because it was never an issue, not a problem. If I got took out, I took it on the chin, and I expected other people that they would equally, you know, if there was a bit of aggressive riding going on or whatever. It's part of the sport back then. It's a lot more. Not so much that goes on nowadays, because everything's, you know, televised, cameras, people, whatever. But back then, and it's funny really, I read Mervyn Anstey's one, and it was kind of like gladiatorial, and it was, you know, especially with the Supercross, we was like gladiators to a degree. You know, the crowd loved a bit of crashing, loved a bit of aggressive riding, loved a bit of takeouts. So yeah, no particular rider. If you could give one piece of advice to any youngster currently racing in schoolboy motocross, what would it be? Watch other riders. Watch faster riders. Watch the guys in the you know, the experts, seniors, whatever. watch what they do. You know, they show you lines, they show you techniques that you don't know about or you haven't got. And just, you know, see somebody doing something and put it into practice, or take it away with you and go and practice it at the practice tracks. But I always used to do that. Just always used to watch the other riders, you know, and see what they was doing, because you will learn something. And finally, what are your social media usernames so people can follow you on various platforms? I'm on Facebook, Warren Edwards. That's it. That's it. Sorry if I bored you. Thanks, Lee, for asking me to do it. It's a great idea. I've watched every one of them, or read every one of them, and yeah, it's you know, really enjoyable. So well done, Lee Ashby, for coming up with this. See you later.